Hello,
Hello.
chasing. All right, let me go open my
Hello, Chase and Tails.
Facebook. I mean, my Facebook,
Just
not my
waiting for
Facebook.
people.
Door for that.
We're just waiting for a few more people to come in.
So, chasing tails, how are you?
You, how are you? Everybody?
Mark's just chilling.
Ooh, we're moving up. We're getting more people. We're getting more people.
Mark!
Uh,
Mark! What's up, Mark? Gamer is here for the milking. Very nice, Gamer. I'm glad you could join us for a milking
Nice
event.
gamer. Very nice. Very nice.
Yes, I thought it was nice.
I'm not.
Chasing tails, you had a great night. What'd you do? Well, we're waiting for some people.
Hmm? Hello, Jeremy. I can see the chat right in front of me.
Jeremy, what's up? How are ya?
How you doing, Jeremy? It's good to see you. Haven't been around in a while.
All right. I'm going to go make a cup of coffee because I was stupid and didn't do it before we went live. So while we're waiting for people, I'm going to go
No,
make a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. I'm going to
okay.
leave you all alone
We're
with
slowly
Lisa.
getting people in.
Let us know if,
Thank you.
let me know if there's any shenanigans that go on. Lisa.
All right.
Okay.
Here for the milking too? Not a good gamer. Hi Texas, you're here for the milking too? What the hell, gamer? We're slowly getting up there. There's a lot of people live, so I don't know how many people are gonna appear. But we're here anyways. When Doris comes back, we'll start introducing. We got 10. We're moving on up. Moving on up to the. Oh, I already got another copyright claim on my folding laundry stream, and I didn't do anything. Not that I remember.
Oh, that's actually.
Lady C, what's up?
Hello, Lady C. Okay, so as you can see from the title to the live stream, we are going to be introducing. There's going to be an introduction to the next child case we're doing. It's Adrian Jones. Let me show you his picture. Cause I was smart and did this all before the stream. Yeah, I get a little smart sometimes.
Ability Moms, hello.
Right. I don't think I did it right.
It
Okay,
did flop
so
up
this
there.
is Adrian Jones. Yeah. Hopefully you guys saw it long enough because I'm trying to be professional here.
She's trying, people.
So,
Trying.
So yes, this is the little boy we are talking about tonight. This is going to be a 2-part series. So far, it's only going to be 2 parts. Today we're just going to give a brief introduction, introduce everybody to this case, to see what people know, what people don't know, and if you don't know, you can go look it up. So next week you'll know a little more about what we're talking about. I'm going to give a little bit of warning. There's going to be some graphic pictures of the abusive child. I'm going to give the same warning I gave during the Gabriel stream. If it's hard for you to handle, feel free to leave, check back. But I just wanted to give that warning before we went on. Joyce, would you like to start?
Sure. If you remember, a couple of cases back, Lisa and I had told you guys that as we investigated the cases that we were working on, we found more and more cases. And this is how I found the case about Adrian. It intrigued me, and Lisa and I decided that we would pick cases we wanted to work on, and that was the case that I chose for myself to work on. And so Adrian was the son of Michael Jones. His mother was Diana. It's Dianna Pierce, who apparently shortly after Adrian was born, they separated. Reportedly because of domestic abuse. Because apparently the mother had him for a little bit, but as his older sister described, was a absentee mom. So basically his mother would go out and leave her children with her. At the time, I believe she was 15-year-old daughter. She had 5 children, all young, including Adrian. And the daughter, his older sister.
This all took place in Kansas, Missouri.
Yes. So, and that's the intriguing part. It started in Missouri and ended in Kansas. The mother, I believe, stayed in Missouri. The father, when he got custody of Adrian, moved to Kansas, which they're side by side, so it wasn't that far away. So finally the mother decided that she had her hands full with the other children, and DCF stepped in, decided to take Adrian out of the house. Her mother tried to get Adrian, but because Michael wanted him, DCF gave him to Michael, being the biological father. So he got full custody of Michael. And
Ariel.
Huh?
I was saying hello to Ariel. Sorry.
Oh, okay. And Michael married a woman named Heather, who became Heather Jones. Another Heather. We actually talked about this earlier, how It seems like the parents in these cases all have the same names. And over time, they decided they moved from Missouri to Kansas. You'll find out shortly what we found out. But they ended up starting to homeschool not only Adrian, but their other 5 children. They also had 6 children. So they had 5 girls and Adrian. Basically, what they ended up doing to him over that course, they believe it lasted for at least 9 months. Was not only torture and abuse, but we question who knew about it. Because of the fact that there were complaints made to DCF. Apparently, before the father moved from Missouri to Kansas, there was a DCF case made. There's some that believe this is the reason why they moved to Kansas. And when they moved to Kansas, they started homeschooling, and what they were doing to Adrian progressed. And are you ready for me to show some pictures, Miss Lisa? Miss Lisa.
You can show. I have the picture saved too, but yeah, you can show them. We're gonna we'll start off showing you again what Adrian looked like in better times.
All right.
And then remind everyone, I did give everyone the warning that the photos will be kind of graphic. So at this time, if you don't think you can handle it, this may be the time to leave.
And
but
again,
come back, please.
That's Adrian. Not sure if that was before or after he went to live with his father.
I don't see the picture.
Oh. It helps if you share. It does. It helps. There you go. So that's Adrian. He looks like he's being tickled. It looks like a child's hands. So maybe one of his older siblings. And this one is also of Adrian, a little bit older. This is let me move this over here. Come on. Come on. That is Adrian's mother and some siblings. I believe they're just the mother's children. I don't believe they're the father's children.
That's Adrian's biological mother.
Yeah, this is here. And this is Adrian here. And one of his sisters, and I believe one of his brothers over here. This is Adrian's father, his biological father, who is Michael Jones. Not an incredibly handsome man, but who am I to judge?
Yep.
This is Heather Jones, who is his stepmother, who was married to his father when he went to live with him. Now, once Adrian lived there, some of the things they did to Adrian, one of the, I guess you could call it, disciplines they did was this. They would tie him to a, what the hell did I call it? Inverted stretching chair, which people who have had back injuries use. It flips you upside down and kind of realigns your back. They would, this is Adrian, because they would try to make Adrian stand as straight as he could. So they would take cutting boards and bandage them to his front, like you see here. They would bandage some type of, I guess, 2x4s or something to his arms to keep his arms straight. And they would.
Is that a diaper he's wearing?
Yes.
That's a
Yes.
diaper he's wearing, right?
Yes.
I want to point that out to people. Okay.
They
It's a
would do
diaper
the
he's
same
wearing,
to his
y'all. 7
back.
years old.
So he wasn't able to like do what people normally do and kind of stretch their back and things like that. One thing about, and this is Adrian's ankles. This is what would happen when being tied to the inverted board. It caused his hands and his feet to swell up from the ties that they had on them and from him hanging, basically. And I forgot to save the picture of his hands, but I had pictures of his hands too. I resembled them to Gabriel's hands, if you remember what Gabriel's hands looked like when we showed Gabriel. Very similar. They basically looked like water balloons, basically. And what these people did was they would not only document the discipline they put him through, they would document the results of the discipline. And this one is a picture of Adrian in what was described as a shower cell. This was a shower stall that was in the basement that the parents would screw a plywood board to prevent him from getting out of the shower. It wouldn't always be on, but they would make him stand there for hours alone in there with whatever they had done to him. This is a photo of Adrian closer to the time of his death, standing in the same shower. You can see how much weight he had lost here. If you compare it to this picture here, where he was younger here, but he was healthier. And And also what they would do with Adrian is they would make him, this is a pool they had in their backyard. At night, they would make him stay in the dirty, cold pool naked for hours. There's one video clip that one of the clips that I have of a news station that shows him outside, and they basically say he was outside because he was eating from the garbage because they hadn't fed him in days, and he got caught eating from the garbage. So those are just some of the things that we're going to talk about when we delve into this case. Let me go back to StreamYards. I resembled this case a little bit to Gabriel. Because like Gabriel, everyone that knew Adrian, yes, Dustin, it has. Originally, both the stepmother and the father pled guilty. Then when...
Hold on. Before we go on, Dustin, let us explain to you the end of Adrian's life, because the end of it will help you understand their charges and their sentencing.
Yeah.
So let us get
to... It's come to a completion. It's come to try. It's come to an ending. But it's just some of the one thing different about these people. Like I said, they took photographs. The people that were interviewed. Go ahead, Lisa.
And Adrian was homeschooled. He did not go to school at Gabriel. So there was no extra outlet like there was for Gabriel in some sense. So these kids were homeschooled while Gabriel went to school. That's another difference. So they basically was with he basically was with his abuser all the time.
Yes.
Well, Gabriel had a break when he went to school.
Yep.
Yeah, call that a break.
And in the long run, the way these people went about what they did ended up thankfully working against them, but at the same time, it let everyone that was associated to it know exactly what Adrian went through during those 9 months that this happened.
And just like with Gabriel, the agency that is there to protect these children failed him.
Yes.
Badly.
Like I said, there were multiple calls made to DSFS. There were cases in both Missouri and Kansas. And even though the two states apparently, because they're so close, are able to share information, Missouri never released their DCFS case to Kansas when the family moved to Kansas.
This is another reason why the Gabriel law is very important to get passed. Because if it gets passed and it gets paid attention to, and this kind of thing, if people do their jobs correctly, won't keep happening.
Yes, Dustin. And that's overall, excuse me. Overall, that's what we're trying to show people is it's not only in one county or one state, it's all over the place. And yes, some of them seem worse
than others.
And people seem even more hateful towards their children or their spouses or what have you.
And the other part that we're also trying to highlight very much right now is that authorities that are put into place to serve and protect are not doing their job. Because there's no reason why there should have been a Gabriel dying. There's no reason why there should have been a Noah. There's no reason why there should have been any more children when these services were notified. And in each case, they were put back into the abuser's hands.
And in this case, when we go into detail about that, you'll see that that's part of what really got to me with this case, was how far people involved went to get someone to do something. And even though they went there, they saw the marks, they saw the bruises. They didn't, not only did they not remove them, but the two agencies that had the capability of speaking to each other didn't. So this little boy had two agencies in two separate states fail him at the same time his whole life, basically.
So he too became an invisible child, just like they used to call Gabriel. Gabriel was the invisible child. He too was an invisible child. Any questions?
Yeah, anybody have any questions? We do have links of, like always, of where we got our information. If you would like it.
I'm asking if they have questions before we get into how he died, and if you want to show that picture. Because at that point, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of questions. So before we get into and touch on how Adrian died, is there any questions so far?
Bueller.
Oh, I guess not. All right, so shut up, gamer. So this boy was tortured, not fed, abused, and all this they did because they essentially were trying to kill this boy. They went out and bought 2 pigs and had them for pets. And essentially they bought these pigs for when Adrian did die. Once Adrian died, they fed the boy to the pigs.
And these are the pigs that it is believed ate the remains of Adrian.
You want to show them the picture of the house, Doris?
That one I don't have. Did
Yeah,
I send
getting
you
up.
that one?
Yeah, you have it. I seen it when you pulled up your thing. Yes. Ability of mom. Yes. Allegedly, they
Oh,
fed.
that one. I know what you're talking about now.
Allegedly, they fed Adrian to the pigs. Doris will explain about the human remains a little bit. We'll touch on it a little bit. We don't want to dive too deep into it because we get passionate and we kind of like, so we're trying to refrain from passion.
This
So this is a
is
picture of. Can you blow it up a little, Doris?
maybe.
I know I'm not a gamer. That's what we said
No,
too.
I don't believe I can. No, I don't believe I can, Lisa.
So this picture you're seeing, I believe, is the kitchen.
And this is
Of their
just
home.
evidence of the filth that not only Adrian but his siblings were forced to live in.
Doris,
Yes.
hold the,
Up.
bring up
Hold.
the picture again, Doris. Hold
And
the
yes,
control
Dustin, I
button
agree.
on the keyboard and use your scroll on your mouse.
Oh, I didn't think about that, Gaffer. You're brilliant. I didn't think about that. That's why you're here, Gaffer. That's why you're here. So that is a enlarged picture of what their kitchen looked like at the time that they went in to start the investigation. And it was also reported that they found dead rodents in the home.
And as far as Lisa's concerned, that kitchen is enough to make anyone investigate.
That's why I saved that picture, Gaffer, because I knew that alone would drive Lisa batty.
Dustin, I agree with everything you're saying. Everything. And again, this is the fourth or fifth child we've covered. And it's the same story in all these children. Someone was notified. It was told and nothing was done.
But yes, ultimately what was reported was, or what they were told finally, was they had Adrian strapped to a chair in that shower cell where he basically slowly died a slow death. He basically ended up succumbing to starvation. And one of the officers that I have a video clip of said that when they couldn't take the stench anymore is when they finally fed him to the pigs.
Now, if you've ever smelled rotting flesh, it is a smell that doesn't go away.
Nope.
When I lived in New York in high school, there was a serial killer killing prostitutes, and it was only 2 blocks away from my high school. You could smell the prostitutes he would put into the wall. and bales. They were all in that house. Um, just walking a block away from that house, you smell the stench of rotting bodies, rotting corpse. And even after he got caught and they removed all them women out the home, that smell lingered for another month and a half. It's not a smell that just goes away. And it's
No.
definitely not a smell that I I don't want it how as soon as I started smelling it, that would be
I mean, and
it's a nasty smell,
anyone
human
that's
smell.
ever had animal get into their basement and die, or sometimes you'll have a raccoon or a squirrel or something get into the walls of your house and they die. You know um, that the stench gets awful and you cannot get rid of that stench even after you find where it's coming from.
Hmm. A lot of times, if a rodent, or because this has happened to me growing up, a family of squirrels died in our attic, and it started causing an odor. My dad removed them, but even that didn't get the smell out. So my dad had to take the insulation out the wall and put new insulation in, and finally the odor started going away. So it's bad. It's a horrible smell.
No,
And yes,
squirrel.
Fluffer, you are correct.
We are not talking about Jimmy Squirrel.
Hmm.
He's a different kind of stench. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah. So, any questions in chat? Hey, Squirrel. Is there any questions in chat? Years ago, I had a old cat that died in my old house. While we were sleeping, I had to pull the carpet up. It was awful. Yes, you get an ability, Mom. That stench is terrible. And whatever, and you guys also got to remember that boy was sitting there for a while. So as your body's decomposing, it's letting off gas and liquids and fluid. And whatever that touches, that scent stays. So the smell could have not have gone away even after they got rid of Adrian's body. Squirrel.
Very nice, squirrel. And
Only sure.
part of what brought the police to the house was, I believe, his grandmother reported that she had not heard from him. They usually at least spoke on the phone. And they went to the house and he had been missing, and they had kept asking where he was, and everyone in the house kept saying they didn't know, they hadn't seen him, he was missing. And they ended up finding some remains in the pig area, which is what brought on the whole investigation. So, um, no one did anything until they hadn't seen him or heard from him.
And I have to bring this up. What pisses me off about the media in this case, instead of, I feel like they disrespected him. I feel like they disrespected Adrian because as more and more articles I looked into, and me and Doris were discussing this before we went live, they no longer called this little boy by his name.
Yep.
They started calling him the pig boy. To me, it's extremely disrespectful. This little boy was murdered and fed to the pigs like he was nothing, like a piece of trash. You know what I mean? Can you at least call this 7-year-old boy who lived this terrible, terrible fucking life and went through all this torture? Can you call him by his name? Can you give him that respect
Right.
and
And
stop calling him the pig boy?
there's a
Yeah, that's just my opinion.
clip there's a clip of one of the officers that investigated who during his interview broke down emotionally and had said that that was what he wanted to prevent. He didn't want the perpetrators to be known as the people that fed the boy to the pigs, or for Adrian to be known as the boy that was fed to the pigs, but that he wanted him to be remembered as Adrian Jones, the little boy that was tortured and murdered.
and fed
Right,
to the pig.
right. And this is
I'm sorry.
another problem in our society
Personally, I'm
is
sorry, and I
media.
understand. I understand the wishes, and I understand the need to respect the situation the way it is. And Adrian does deserve better than what he did, and he deserves better in the future than what he's going to be getting. But unfortunately, he was abused, murdered, and fed to the pigs by parents that were supposed to look after him. It's not just he was murdered like the
And
last few people you've talked about. He
Right.
was then fed to the pigs. That's how much disrespect they had for their own child.
Right.
These
And
people ought to be shamed
thank
and
you, young
murdered and
man.
hung and fed to the pigs themselves.
and
Right.
multiple people said that Heather and Michael, the two dickheads, um, didn't even refer to him
Impulse
by
is just
name.
our opinion. Go on. Sorry.
Um, didn't even refer to him by his name. They referred to him as the boy.
Um, I resent the use of the word dickhead. My dickhead's got more brains than that.
Well, I didn't want to call them parents
Uh,
because that's not what they are.
and
Um,
this is another thing I have to touch on because it wasn't it wasn't as important to bring up with Gabriel and them as it is right now. Um, the media is another problem that's
Hey, Joe, man.
becoming or has been a very big problem. Hey, Joe, man, is that they put these titles on and they forget why they're telling the news and what their purpose is as people that spread the news, and it becomes more important for them to sell it, to sell their newspapers, to get you to come in and watch. So at the end of the day, these victims um, then become like, and he's now known as the Pig Boy. So a lot of people did not know Adrian's name. If we would have came in
mhm.
here and named our title the Pig Boy or called him the Pig Boy, more people probably would have known about this story. But out of respect for that little boy and his family, we are going to call him by his name because it is just wrong. Me, us getting views and all that isn't that important to disrespect a child that was tortured and murdered. I just wish the media would see it that way. Okay, that was my little rant.
But yeah, like Gabriel was to Lisa, this case to me was it was my one. Um, I the longer I looked, the angrier I got, and finally, when Lisa and I started this our meeting, our pre-live meeting, I was like, "This is what we're doing." I was like, I just started sending her stuff because I knew it would infuriate her as much as it did me. And it did. It
And it
worked.
did.
And so,
That picture, I'm going to tell you what hit me the most, guys, is when I looked at the picture of that little boy's face. Even through looking through all the stuff that I looked through with Gabriel, and again, this is just my picture. I mean, opinion. Um, a lot of the Gabriel photos and the autopsies and everything I read hit me hard.
yes, ability of moms.
But nothing, but nothing made my stomach get into a knot and make me almost not be able to look at that picture
The
than to see his face cut open like that.
the police said they specifically bought what are called feeder pigs because they will eat till there's nothing left to eat. And they said they weren't bought. They were bought right before Adrian died. Because at that point they knew he was going to die.
apparently, or supposedly. We can only
Right.
assume the
And to
reason they bought the
see,
pigs was because they knew damn well that's where they were going to dispose of the
Right.
body. That's what we believe, and
right.
that's our opinion.
They were the only animals these people had on their 15
Right.
acres of land they lived on.
And if you're
Were
a pig
4
owner and
pigs.
you're not on a farm, if you're on a farm, you need that many pigs. It wasn't just 1 or 2. And the boy was so tiny by the time he died, it probably didn't take long. Fucking assholes. Sorry, the slip. That's what I said too, Billy. Mom, that is what I said. That's exactly what I said. I said I meant to die.
Yeah, Joe, man. With the once we get into it next week, it is premeditated, but not. I mean, the pigs didn't kill the boy. He was already dead.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette. I'll be right back.
They fed his remains to the pigs to get rid of the evidence because they thought if they got rid of the evidence, there would be no way they could be caught. Right. I agree, Dustin. I believe that and someone said it a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about Noah, that if it's something that doesn't affect them or is not close to where they are, they pay no attention to it whatsoever. Right, Gamer. We were going to get into that next week, but I had said that they had 19 surveillance cameras throughout their house, and they took regular pictures of the changes in his body or the marks that were left.
And the general condition of the child on occasions.
Right.
But folks, you're going to see all this next week. This is going to go into depth.
We were trying
Actually,
to get
are
too
you going to see it
much.
next week, or is it the week after?
Next. Oh, that's right. Too. Next week we're not doing one, so it'll be the week after.
So 2 weeks, folks. In 2 weeks, this is going to be a lot more in depth, and you're going to see photos, and yeah, there's going to be a lot more of it. So please return. What else can I say? I mean, there's not much more you can say in this one that's done introduction.
Right. I mean, and that's part of, we wanted to handle this one just like Gabriel and do a introduction with a slow summary of everything we had and then go into detail. So that way people could decide if they really wanted to listen to the brunt of it or if it would be too much for them. So that way we don't blindside you with what happened if it's not something that you're comfortable with hearing or seeing or.
But then by now, folks, with these reports, by now you would have thought that if you're going to turn up, there's going to be some stuff that's going to make you uncomfortable.
Unfortunately, we have been deemed the uncomfortable makers.
As part of the introduction, this is also only a small segment of the overall series. Child abuse is the start of the series. And these last few weeks that Lisa and Doris have been gathering this information, they have found out that there are other aspects of domestic abuse that this whole series is going to cover. So, folks, in the future, there's going to be a lot more than just the stories of child abuse, which at the moment are the most horrific. But there's also going to be spousal abuse on both sides of the nest. So stay tuned, folks. It's going to get a lot more over the next few weeks than what it is currently now. And of course, this is the most passionate part of domestic abuse that Lisa and Doris are all into, which is child abuse. It's very near and dear to their heart. But in 2 weeks' time, you will see the upcoming report on this with more in-depth information and photos and a few more links. But next week, there's not going to be a report. Next week is...
Squirrel, you're not a dick. You just need to join us on our roundtable stream so you can make up for the and with us with shenanigans.
Next week is Lisa and Doris's birthday. They both actually have the birthday on the same day, and they're going to relax and enjoy themselves next week, starting Thursday night. So to see the party start, go check out Jimmy's live stream for Thirsty Thursdays. These women are going to kick up their heels and let down their hair and throw bra straps at each other. So the fun begins, folks. That's next week.
I won't be kicking up my heels like Jimmy and them do on Thursday. I work that day and I got to get up in the morning.
A little more better. So it'll be like opposites. Like when I used to have to get up for work the next day and have to behave myself a little bit, the roles are reversed next week. I won't be behaving on Jimmy's Thirsty Thursdays live stream.
But we are going to make get her.
But I will be there
Saturday night.
And we plan to have a little bit of fun on our birthday, and then the big party will be on Friday night on the roundtable stream.
Yeah, so folks, Friday night, that's when you need to do the super chats for Dilly Dilly, because the more Dilly Dillies, the more the party flows.
Yes. All right, guys, and it's about time, I think.
I invited you. I did invite. Yes. Hold on 1 minute, gamer. I have to correct you. I did ask Tony to join us in these streams, and I'm going to tell you why. For one, he's a male with children, and it would be nice to have a father opinion up here. And for two, Tony is into politics in his state. So it would have been nice to have somebody up here to maybe explain to us why these things slip through the cracks in our government system. But it became too much for Tony, which is understandable. But Squirrel was invited to partake in this series with us.
Yes, our main goal.
I just don't want people.
When we started these streams, our main goal was to look at it from all sides. The red tape side, the political side, the medical side, the mother side, the father side. And we were left with just me and Lisa.
And just a little bit of a reasoning here, that this report is mainly for Lisa and Doris to work together to showcase what's important to them and present what they find and the facts and have a chat and put in opinions. The only reason I'm up here is because I keep sticking my nose in, because I'm the producer that sits downstairs to make sure everything flows a little bit.
He's the one that flashes things when we tell him to flash them, and we mention it and it pops up.
What I do down in the basement's my own thing. If I want to flash a few things down there, I'm going to flash a few things down there. Right? Only the women can see them. So I'm not meant to be up on panel, but I can't stop sticking my nose in sometimes when I have an opinion. So I apologise, ladies.
And I appreciate the opinion because like Squirrel, Fluffy is a father, and his daughter means the world to him. And
it's an understatement.
So it is nice to get the other side of it, other than the mother or woman side.
Don't worry. Next Friday, Lisa may just do a mountainous queef for you game, all
right? And I did go to Tony. Tony was one of the people I went to discuss us doing these series because I was petrified of what it may do to the channel. And Tony was the one that said, Lisa, just do it.
And Gamer, when we talk about if we end up doing animal abuse, we will call you and we will have you on panel for your pigeon.
Yes. Yeah, for your pigeon.
No, we said that this was domestic abuse, and unfortunately, in the domestic era, there are animals and they do get abused. It may be part of the topics down the stream as part of this collection that is being done. So don't overlook the pets.
Yes.
Let's already touched on it. We covered the Tiger King. Just say.
Right? Yeah, that's kind of animal abuse. Yep.
Yeah, that was the Tiger King covered the three different aspects.
I have to make this announcement too, because Tony was a part when we started the Tiger King series. We are watching the Tiger King stuff very closely because there is new developments arising. We're just not going to report it until it is confirmed. Hello, Kenneth. Where the hell have you been? We've been worried about you. So, hello, mascot. So, as soon as we know it's guaranteed and it transpires, we will be covering some more of the Tiger King too. But there has been developments on Tiger King. You shush, gamer. Me.
But yeah, and like we said, we have the links. So if anybody would like the links for any of the articles or videos that we've gotten our information from, so you're better equipped, not next Friday, but the Friday after, just contact Lisa or I, and we will send you the links.
Okay, folks, not to interrupt Doris too much, but we're coming up on the hour mark.
Okay.
This has been a very wonderful and very interesting introduction to the Adrian Jones case. Thank you very much, ladies. We look forward to the rest of it. And in 2 weeks' time, people, the rest of it will come. Next week is party week. Get your dancing shoes on because we're going to have a bit of a hoedown on the Friday. Thursday will start. Doris is just going to get sloshed and she's going to carry it on to Friday. I'm telling you now, she'll be falling off that chair by the time Friday gets here. So, folks, thanks for joining us on this one. Thanks for the opinions and the thoughts, and thanks for listening. Please thank Lisa and Doris for presenting this one. And we shall see you in the shenanigans stream in a few minutes' time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everybody.